Dear viewers, now I will focus on lesson 3 on budget, how the project manages its budget. That is the focus of this video. So first comes budget planning. What is budget planning? It considers how to manage the cost as well as the value. So cost and value both. How the organization and stakeholder show their attitude towards the budget and cost. So we have to consider the organization's attitude to the budget and cost, the stakeholders' attitude to the budget and cost. So we should create a budget in accordance with the project life cycle. If the project is predictive, then one kind of budgeting. But if it is adaptive or agile project, then the budget will be different. In the hybrid approaches or adaptability around surety, here actually we try to use the burn rate. So agile teams actually collaborate with stakeholders and partners and finance stakeholders to suggest incremental budgeting approaches. That is agile mindset. So for each of the part, each of the component in an incremental system, the budget is changed or reviewed. So what is burn rate? Burn rate is the rate at which the project consumes financial resources, representing negative cash flow. So burn rates are often used by agile approaches to budget cost for planned iteration, planned sprints, or planned increments. So now, cost management plan. This is a component of a project management plan that describes how cost will be planned, how the cost will be structured, and how the cost will be controlled or minimized, how we will ensure the efficiency with less resources, less cost will get the more benefit. So we should create a cost management plan. We can employ estimating techniques to assign cost to activities, or we can tailor a cost baseline. Depends on is used to monitor and measure cost performance throughout the project. We can compare with actual results, and that includes budget contingencies to address identified risk. So we have a baseline cost, and then we have some administrative cost, and we also should keep some contingencies in terms of any kind of risk or emergencies. So it can be changed only through formal change control process. If we make a cost management plan, and that should be approved, and if you want to change it, that should go to the formal change control process. So now the question is, what is cost baseline? The cost baseline is actually the approved version of the time-phased project budget, excluding any management reserve, which can be changed only through the formal change control process. So cost baseline is approved version. If we want to change it, we have to go to the change control procedures. And what is budget at completion? This means the sum of all budget established to provide financial support for the work to be performed. These two I will show you in the graph. Here you find this figure. This is a model of a predictive management plan, predictive cost management plan. At the underneath, you are seeing that this is activity estimate, activity 1, activity 2, activity 3. So by combining them, we will find the work package estimates. This is work package 1, work package 2, work package 3, like this. Then if we combine them, we will find the control account estimates. So control account 1, control account 2. And then finally we have the budget estimate in total. With this, actually we should add a contingency reserve. Why? Because any kind of emergency or urgency or any kind of changes, we have to spend some. So that's why we keep this contingency reserve, so that any change, any issues we can handle. So this is the after the contingency reserve. Then we have the cost baseline, and this is approved by the authority, either project manager or project sponsor or the product owner. When we have that, after this one, management, the leading positions can keep some reserves. So that is out of the cost baseline, which is approved by the authority. So after, if we add this, then we have the cost at completion, budget at completion, BAC. We can show it in figure 2. This is the cost baseline. In the horizontal axis, we have time, more time go, more spending, and we have cumulative values in the vertical side. So cost baseline, this is the minimum level. Then we can add the contingency and management reserves. Then finally, we will have the budget at completion. So project budget, this one. So budget at completion means it before the management reserve. Now we have to check with the organization funding limit. We have to reconcile. So how can we do that? How can we reconcile our budget or cost? So we can compare planned project expenditure against funding limits. So we have a funding limits and we have the plan, so we can compare them. And we can see the aligned works and expenditure on the schedule to level the rate of expenditures. How much money already gone, how much time already gone. We can compare that with the how much time we have remaining and how much money we have already in hand. So in the predictive approach, actually, we can use the historical data, start from the known. We can check lessons learned repository for budget. So from the previous experience, from previous examples, from previous any kind of projects, we can compare that for which kind of activity, how much money we need. So we should look for a valuable cost estimating information, both success and shortcomings. So we can use the analogous and estimating method. But in the adaptive approach, actually, we have to estimate point effort using planning poker or affinity diagram to find the number of user stories that can be completed based on the team velocity. So in the adaptive approach, in the agile approach, we have stories. So based on the stories and features, we actually decide the budget and cost. So that's why actually here what we do, we estimate points, efforts using planning poker or affinity diagram to find the number of user stories that can be completed based on team velocity. So we should use a simple formula to estimate the cost per point, cost per sprint, cost per iteration. That is easier. And we can use some formula like summation of loaded team salaries for period n divided by the points completed in interval. Or we can use a formula to estimate budget like cost per point into total point value of items to be completed plus other expenses equal to forecasting budget. So we can use this kind of formula. Then the estimating cost. How can we estimate the cost? In the predictive system, estimate the cost for each activity or work package in a project. And then cost estimate should include the direct labor, materials, equipment, facilities, services, information technology. So all together become the activity cost. And then we keep the contingency reserve, time or money allocated in schedule or cost baseline for known risk and active response strategies. There are some known risk, known emergencies. For this, we keep some kind of contingency money that we call contingency reserve. And we can use them with rough order of magnitude like minus 25 to 75%, or definitive estimate like -5 to +10%. This kind of contingency reserve can be kept. In adaptive approach, we actually expect the scope to change. In adaptive, we always change, we embrace changes. So for each iteration, each sprint, we have to decide based on the stories and features. So we should use the lightweight estimation methods for high-level estimating. And how the project budget will be done. We should use the bottom-up approach to aggregate activity cost, work package cost, and cost baseline. We have shown you in previous slide this one. From the bottom part, from this bottom part, we are estimating the for activity, then package, then control account, then we have the contingency. Finally, got the cost baseline. So there's are explaining in this slide actually. Which one? This one, project budget. So use the bottom-up approach to aggregate activity cost, work package cost, and cost baseline. Include contingencies then to support the risk management. So this is the activity estimate, then activity contingency reserve, then we have the work package contingency reserve, then we have the control accounts, and finally cost baseline. With this, we can add the management reserve, and then we got the whole budget. So this is the budget at completion, BSc. So what should be the guideline for budget? For adaptive, we should focus on short-term budgeting and matrices versus long-term. And we can set time periods for work and prioritize work within those time period. And we should base cost on the resources used for the time period. But in the hybrid system, we should estimate budget based on current data, plus a forecast algorithm that is based on historic data or expert guidance that is lean or Kanban. And also in hybrid, we can use a top-down approach using gross level estimation techniques such as planning POKR or affinity grouping on feature set, then employing progressive elaboration and rolling away planning methods to drill down to the task level on a just-in-time basis. So for each iteration, for each sprint, we have some stories. So we have the backlogs. So based on the stories for each iteration, we have to make the budget or costing. So that's why we should use the planning POKR or affinity diagram. And we can revise budget at sprint planning interval. So budget consideration should be in adaptive, estimate budget based on the length of time of the project. Then consider the burn rate, the number of teams of members, blended or actual team member rates, time of involvement, assumption of full team involvement or not. If additional equipment or supplies are required, add them to the estimated cost. Product owner may control the budget depending on team composition. So in adaptive, actually, product owner actually decide the backlog stories and the features and decide for each iteration what will be the value addition, what features will be added, and based on that what will be the cost. So this is all for budget side. Thank you so much. In next video we will be talking about the risk of a project. Bye.